What is up, YouTube? This is an update video on my go-kart. If you look closely, you can see something majorly wrong, as this axle just completely snapped in half as I was riding it. I got video of it, which was kind of cool. So here's just a short little video of what happened.
Holy crap. Well, I just broke that. Yeah, that looks bad. Fuck.
So, as you can see, I was riding it in the snow, and all of a sudden it just snapped in half. I think it was because of the cold. That day, I'm not entirely sure, it was like 0 degrees out. The wind chill was like -16 or something like that, so it was like really cold. Plus, there was a lot of strain right here because of that's where the axle is. So, that'll be fun to fix because I welded every single thing onto this axle. The tires are welded on, the bearings are even welded on, this brake hub, the sprocket, bearings, and wheels are all welded on. Plus, also, on this thing, the wheels are starting to go. Because there are no bearings, the metal just slowly eats away. So, I'm just gonna ride the wheels until they fall off, and then do something with the wheels. Possibly get better ones or something. I'm not entirely sure. So, let's take this axle off and see what it looks like. Look at this. This is actually really interesting. The outer layer is smooth, like it snapped, and then the middle is rough, like it's sheared. So it may have been a combination of the weld right here tempered it a little bit, therefore made the steel brittle, and then the cold made it even more brittle, plus the force of riding it just made it snap. Because I know for sure this steel doesn't snap, it bends, and it takes a lot of force to even bend it. It's 3/4 steel. So for it to just completely snap in half, it wasn't, you know, from force. It was because it was tempered a little bit from the weld, and it was freezing cold outside. So it's actually really interesting. So what I'm gonna have to do is, it's weird to look at. It's kind of cool. Anyway, what I'm gonna have to do is just cut all the welds, take all this stuff off, and go buy a new axle and weld all the new stuff back on. That'll be fun. Okay, I got it all cut. It was a nightmare. It ended up taking me like 3 hours to cut all the welds off and pound all the metal through everything. Tires were the most of pain because there was no way to get my angle grinder flat down there, so I had to end up just doing a bunch of hacking. So these were fun. Got a new axle. I went to Tractor Supply. They had normal, you know, steel axles, but if I put them on the floor, I rolled them, and I could tell that they had a lot of they were really crooked. So next to them, they had these. These were galvanized. It's the same thing, but it was just galvanized with zinc, I believe. And I was thinking, and I rolled this on the floor, and it was much smoother, much straighter. So hopefully these aren't weaker in any way, because if so, I'm going to be really pissed off that I did this and welded all this back on, and if this thing snaps, I'm going to be really pissed off. Plus, this was like 10 bucks cheaper, so hopefully that doesn't mean that it's weaker metal or anything, but this thing is really straight. I ground off all the galvanized because I don't want to be welding on galvanized, because that sucks and it kills you. So hopefully it won't be any weaker of a metal. Hopefully it'll be Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll all work out, because I don't want to have to do this again. This was a nightmare. So I'm gonna pull all this stuff out, pull it all outside, and start welding on it outside. Align everything. First weld the bearings and align everything from there. Hopefully it all works out. Okay, I just got this all welded on. Excuse me. As you can see, it's all finished. I kind of really rushed it because I was outside welding this thing, and it was snowing. It just started snowing really hard, so I wanted to really hurry up and finish this thing. So I kind of really rushed on it, and I didn't notice, as I was welding on the tires, I didn't notice that originally the axle I bought before was a 4-footer, and I just moved the tires in where I wanted them, and then I cut the axle. I bought a 3-footer this time, and just assumed I wouldn't have to move the tires. I wouldn't have to cut the bar. So what I did was I just moved the tires to the end of the 3-foot bar, which made it to where they stick out at least 3 inches more than the old original axle. The old one, these tires lined up perfectly right there. So the tires were originally right there, and now they're right there. So, sorry for the shaky camera. Not a big deal. It's just, it's going to be a wider wheelbase, which is not a big deal. But it's just all the more distance for that to bend, because all the more force is going to be on that. So everybody knows, the farther out you stick these things, the more force is going to be right there. So, whatever, not a big deal. Hopefully this cheaper metal is not going to break, is not going to bend, is not going to move an inch. Because if it snaps, if it at least bends, I will be very pissed off. Because it took me over 3 hours to cut all the welds on the old one and clean it up, and then it took me over an hour to re-weld all this back on. So if it fucks up, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, so next step is these tires. As you can see, they got a lot of play in them because the bushings are gone. So no big deal. Just maybe when they run out, like take them off and put like a little metal sleeve in there, or just replace them. I don't know. Replace them with something better. I don't know. So right now I'm just gonna ride them until they fall off, literally. And the nice thing about this axle is because last one had a 1/4 of an inch movement up and down because it was so it wasn't perfectly true. It had a 1/4 of an inch of movement up and down. This one seems to be really true, which is nice. That's why I picked it. That's why I picked this axle, because the other ones, the non-galvanized ones, they had the same thing. They just had a, I put them on the floor of Tractor Supply, and I could just hear that they had a bump in them. So, and then I picked up this one, and this one seemed perfectly straight, and I was right. This thing is almost perfectly straight. So, hopefully it doesn't fuck up. Hopefully it lasts a very long time. So, that's probably the end of this video. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and have a nice day.